65 miles of brutality. That's what followed the Battle of Bataan. The Battle of Bataan was U.S. and Filipino forces fighting together against Imperial Japan. And even though they were outmanned and outgunned, they fought on for months longer than they were supposed to, but they did end up surrendering. After that surrender, they were forced to march over 60 miles through the tropics, 100-degree weather, 100% humidity, no food or water. Any water they had was just drinking out of puddles that were contaminated to no end, so dysentery galore. And they could barely sleep. If they didn't wake up in time to keep moving, they were buried alive. This went on for a whole week, this march, and it was terror from beginning to end. Basically, from Philadelphia to Atlantic City, that's what the distance was. Now imagine that distance with 100 degrees, bugs everywhere, no food in you. There's nowhere to go to the bathroom. You're going all over yourself because of dysentery all over the place, which is infecting your wounds. Just absolute atrocity. Those who couldn't keep up met fates like this. You were tortured, you were beheaded, you were bayoneted, you were buried alive. You were shot for sport. But these men carried each other along. 72 to 78,000 U.S. and Filipino forces made this march, but many would not make it all the way to Camp O'Donnell, the prisoner of war camp. On the way there, at least 5,000 Filipino forces, probably up to 18,000 of them, would not make it, and at least 500 Americans would not make it to Camp O'Donnell. But when they got to Camp O'Donnell, it didn't get any better. It actually got worse. At this prisoner of war camp, there was little infrastructure. There was very little food or water there as well. So these guys were living off a handful of rice a day. Usually the rice was filled with maggots and weevils, and because there were so many corpses falling down, people dying left and right, bugs were everywhere. Bugs were attracted to the corpses. Survivors talked about bugs being so thick and heavy, branches of trees were actually collapsing under the weight of the bugs. The flies, the gnats, the mosquitoes, in this harsh, tropical, 100-degree weather with massive, hardcore humidity, they was barely able to breathe. While the Japanese troops were tormenting them, staying in the shade, not letting these guys sit down. These guys herded on the cars. They could not sit down. Some of these guys were dying standing up. Just a way to go out you never want to imagine, all while also watching their brethren getting executed left and right in front of them. Now, less than 2 years later, Douglas MacArthur returned to the Philippines after being forced to leave by FDR. Due to the situation there, he came back as he promised to do so, and the U.S. would actually take back their territory. The Japanese in command that forced this atrocity, many of them were taken in and executed for their crimes. We can only hope to not see any more atrocities like this against POWs.